Alabama this week. Now, this is about the 5th or 6th one in the last 12 to 18 months. So today we're discussing what could this mean for the future of insurance rates, whether we're talking about the National Flood Insurance Program, we're talking about private flood. Let's talk a little bit about the National Flood Insurance Program first. You know, they've got this new program called Risk Rating 2.0. So maybe you had flood damage. This is something you want to think about with the new program is they look at flood frequency. So maybe you had a claim this week, maybe you didn't. Maybe you've had a few claims over the last 10 years. Remember, they use something called claims variable now. This means if you decide to go ahead and file that claim, they're going to do a 20-year look back. And maybe you've had 2 or 3 claims, then this could be a major rating variable on your renewal. It means that your renewal may actually go up more than the 18% that they allow it to go up because of this new claims variable. So that's something to think about. Because with Risk Rating 2.0, things are constantly changing with the risks. Now let's talk about the private market, which could be even more volatile as all these things happen. And that is that a lot of private markets use data. Actually, some of the same data we provide the customers now with our flood verification tool that teaches people how to lower their flood risk. What they're doing is using all this data, and they're collecting this data in the Birmingham Alabama area, and they're starting to see some concerning things when it comes to flooding. You know, almost every one of these flood events has happened because of afternoon thunderstorms that dropped a lot of rain at one time. Heck, just yesterday, 5 inches of rain was received in parts of Birmingham, Alabama. If you remember Pelham back in October of 2021, where you had over 10 inches of rain that were received in some parts in just a few hours. So they're seeing all this data, and they're using this data not only to determine flood insurance rates, but to determine if they're even going to insure certain areas of the city. You know, when you see a renewal come in from your private flood insurance, you either might get a non-renewal, you might get what's called a conditional renewal. What is a conditional renewal? Well, if a renewal goes up over a certain percentage, a carrier has to send out what's called a conditional renewal. It's usually probably more than 25%. Then they have to send this out. And we're starting to see this a little bit with carriers. We're starting to see some carriers that will not write policies on properties with basements in the Birmingham, Alabama area, especially areas like Vestavia and Homewood and all these areas. So these are some things you just want to be aware of. And especially if you're working with an insurance company that only has one private flood insurance option, or they can go to the National Flood Insurance Program, but what happens when that option no longer wants to ride in that area, or they're non-renewing policies? Now all of a sudden you're stuck. So you want to make sure, don't get stuck in that situation. Visit our website, floodinsuranceguru.com/learning center. This is the reason why we launched one of the world's largest learning centers, and we put new information on here every single week for you. It's so that you don't get shocked by these situations. It's so that you can understand your flood risk. On our website, go to Flood Resources, put your email address and your address in there, and get an idea of what your real flood risk is. It'll even tell you how close to water you are, and as of this afternoon, it should even tell you if flood insurance is required or not. Is there a catch? No. These are absolutely free tools for the public, for every realtor, for every investor, even insurance agent out there, so that people can reduce the chances of a flood loss happening. So, if you've got questions, reach out to us. We just wanted to put this information out about what's happening in the Birmingham market, the Gadsden market, East Alabama, all the way up even through Coleman, that we've really seen over the last 12 to 18 months. We'll be putting a video similar to this out on our YouTube channel over the next week. We'll have a blog out. We'll also have some other resources out. Thanks for joining in, Jason and Scott. I hope you're doing well, and I hope everyone has a great Thursday.